Why Uber is suddenly acting like a tech giant again starts with a quiet shift in behavior, not a flashy product launch or a bold rebrand. Uber stopped talking like a technology company. It talked like a logistics operator, a marketplace. Growth was toned down, ambition sounded restrained. The focus was profitability, discipline, and survival. But recently, something has changed. Uber's language, strategy, and priorities are starting to resemble the company it once claimed to be. A tech platform built to scale, not just a ride-hailing business built to endure. To understand this shift, you have to look at what Uber went through first. After years of aggressive expansion, heavy losses, and regulatory battles, Uber spent a long period in self-correction. The company pulled back from risky bets, exited unprofitable markets, sold off experimental units, and focused intensely on margins. During that phase, Uber intentionally downplayed its identity. It leaned into being just a marketplace connecting drivers and riders efficiently. That framing helped calm investors and regulators, but it also limited how Uber talked about its future. Uber is once again behaving like a company that believes software, data, and platforms are its real advantage. The most obvious sign is how Uber is talking about scale. Instead of focusing narrowly on rides or delivery volume, Uber increasingly emphasizes its platform leverage. One app, one user base, one payment system. This is classic tech giant thinking. The goal is not to optimize a single service, but to compound value across multiple services using shared infrastructure. Another signal is Uber's renewed confidence in product expansion. During its defensive years, Uber avoided launching too many new initiatives. Today, it is more willing to layer features, services, and integrations onto its core platform. Advertising, membership programs, enterprise solutions, financial tools for drivers, and deeper integrations between mobility and delivery are no longer treated as side experiments. They are positioned as scalable platform extensions. That mindset mirrors how big tech companies think about monetization. Once the platform is stable, everything becomes a potential surface for value creation. Uber's use of data is also becoming more central to its identity again. Data quietly powered pricing, routing, and matching, but Uber rarely highlighted it. Now, the company is more open about its data advantage. Uber sits on massive real-time information about movement, demand patterns, consumer behavior. Acting like a tech giant means recognizing that this data is not just operational. It improves algorithms, enables new products, and creates barriers competitors struggle to cross. Artificial intelligence plays directly into this shift. Uber is no longer treating AI as a background optimization tool that improves efficiency, forecasting, and marketplace balance. AI allows Uber to scale without proportionally increasing costs. That is a defining trait of tech giants. Growth driven by software leverage rather than labor expansion changes how the company is valued. There is also a cultural signal inside the company. Uber is once again investing heavily in engineering talent, platform reliability, and long-term technical infrastructure. During its cost-cutting phase, engineering was about maintenance and incremental improvement. It is about building systems that support future complexity. That is not how a pure transportation company thinks. That is how a technology platform thinks. Another reason Uber is acting like a tech giant again is competitive positioning. The ride-hailing market alone does not justify long-term tech-level valuations. Uber knows this. To sustain its narrative and its market relevance, it needs to be seen as a platform company that orchestrates multiple forms of on-demand services. Acting like a tech giant is not just cultural, it is necessary for strategic survival. Regulatory confidence also plays a role. Uber was cautious because it was under constant regulatory pressure. Every bold move risked backlash. Today, while regulation is still a factor, Uber has achieved a degree of normalization in many markets. That stability gives the company room to think bigger again. Tech giants expand when they feel legally secure enough to do so. Uber is slowly regaining that confidence. Another overlooked factor is maturity. Uber is no longer a young company trying to prove its model works. It is a global platform with predictable cash flows and operational experience. Mature tech companies often go through cycles where they pull back, stabilize, then re-accelerate strategically. Uber appears to be entering that re-acceleration phase, but with more discipline than before. Importantly, Uber is not returning to reckless growth. Acting like a tech giant does not mean repeating old mistakes. This version of Uber is more selective, more data-driven, and more aware of trade-offs. The difference is that it now believes it has earned the right to think expansively again. It is no longer just defending its existence, it is shaping its ecosystem. You can see this in how Uber positions itself relative to cities, businesses, and consumers. Instead of framing itself as a disruptor fighting the system, Uber increasingly presents itself as infrastructure. That is a subtle but powerful shift. Infrastructure companies think in decades, not quarters. They invest in platforms that others build on. That mindset aligns much more closely with tech giants than with transportation operators. So why is Uber suddenly acting like a tech giant again? Because it believes the hardest part is behind it. The business is more stable, the platform is proven, and the competitive landscape rewards companies that can scale intelligence, not just operations. This shift does not guarantee success. Acting like a tech giant raises expectations. It requires flawless execution, but it does signal something important. Uber is no longer content being valued as a service company with thin margins. It wants to be seen once again as a technology platform with compounding advantages. And in today's market, that change in behavior may matter just as much as any single product launch. Because when a company starts acting like a tech giant again, it is usually because it plans to compete like one.